Hi, welcome to the GL transaction video, and this is Saurabh. In this video, we will continue with the steps involved to create a manual JV in the GL module. Okay, so if you remember in the previous video, we have already finished the first prerequisite to create a manual JV in the GL module, which is to open up the ledger period. Now we are actually going to create the JV or the journal voucher. So since the creation of a journal voucher is done by the end user, so we will do the creation step from the end user responsibility. So we will go to General Ledger EU Vision Web Tutorial Corporation. We will say OK. Now the navigation to create a manual JV is journals, enter. Right, so we can see that in this form, the JV may be created manually, which is one standalone JV can be created at a time if we click the new journal option, or we have another option to create JVs in a batch. Okay, so if at all we intend to create multiple journal vouchers in a data entry session, and we want to group all the journals under some logical name, then we will create a new batch, and then within that batch we will add all the concerned JVs. Okay, so what we are going to do in this particular video is we will create a standalone JV, a standalone single JV. So to create that, we will click on the new journal option. Right, so this is the form. So we can see that this is a header and a line master child sort of a form. So we need to enter the header level information first. So we can enter a unique name in the journal field. Okay, unique name of the JV, and if we are not sure about the name of the JV, then we can leave this field blank, and system will automatically populate some name in this JV. So what we are going to do is in this training we are going to leave this name as blank, so that we can see how the system will populate the default name in this JV. Let me fill in some description. So I'll say manual JV in GL training. Right, so the ledger is coming correctly, Vision Web Tutorial ledger. Now the reason the ledger is coming correctly is if you remember in the previous video, there was a section wherein we were setting up some profile option. So there was one profile option, GL ledger name, and we had set the GL ledger name as Vision Web Tutor ledger for this responsibility in which we are doing the entry. So that is why we can see that this responsibility is linked with this ledger. Then the category, so by default the category is coming as adjustment. So let me create the custom category which I had created in my previous video. So let me find that was VWT manual JV. Then the period, so we can see that again the period field has also got defaulted with the period which is the last period which is currently open. So if you remember, the last period which was open in my ledger was April 14/14. So in the GL module it is possible for me to do backdated transaction. So what I'm going to do is I will change the period, and I'll go to the first month of my calendar, January 14/14. Right, so we can see that as soon as we change the period, the the effective date which was earlier coming as the system date has also changed to the last date of the concerned period, 31st January 2014. So this effective date basically means the date on which we are entering the JV. Right, so if at all we are entering a backdated JV, this can be a date in the past. Right, Then we will leave the other things as default. Budget type is actual, right? Budget and clearing company are all blank. Journal type is standard, right? And then we will go to the conversion frame. So over here we can see that automatically the currency is coming as the functional currency of the ledger, USD. So if at all we intend to do a foreign currency transaction, then this is the place wherein we come and change the currency. Okay, and then we have a frame wherein we enter the reversal details of this JV. So we are going to see the detail of this reversal in the later videos. And one more thing we can notice is as soon as we gave a period, system automatically gave a unique name to this journal. The name is the logic for the name is there is a word called as manual. Okay, and then there is a unique running number. So the current running number is 4679155, and then the date and the time. Okay, so the date is coming as today's date, and the time is the system time. Okay, so we are done with the entry of the header part of this JV. Now we will go to the line level. So we will give a unique number to each line, and then let me enter a JV for sales booking. Okay, so in this JV my sundry debtors or receivable account will get debited, and my sales account will get credited. So let me select my sundry debtors or receivable account in the first line. So let me click the LOV. So now when I click the LOV, I can see that all the segments which I had defined in the COA of this ledger, Vision Web Tutor COA, are appearing here. Okay, so first is the name of the company. So if I click on the LOV, then we can see that all the companies which I listed in the value set of or rather the value set which is linked with this segment, these are the companies. And if I scroll down, I should be able to find my company. I can see that this 84 number is Vision Web Tutor Corporation. So I'll say okay. Then the department. So all the departments which I have entered in the concerned department value set will show up here. So if I do not intend to do this entry against any particular department, then I have a option of selecting 000, which is linked with no department. Then the name of the account. So what I'm going to do is let me select accounts receivable. Then the name of the sub account. So these are the sub accounts which have been created under the parent 1210 accounts receivable. So let us say that we are doing this sales booking for Arizona. So in the sub account we will select Arizona. Then the product. So let us say that this is some sort of standard desktop. So we'll say Sentinel standard. Then the employee. So we will not enter any employee. We'll select the default employee. And then the future segments. So let me select the default option in future segments also, and let me say okay. So let me debit this account by say 2,500 USD. And then if I scroll forward, we can see that we have been given a narration or a description field at the line level also. So by default, whatever narration or description we enter at the header level, that will get defaulted at the line level, right? And then let me enter the credit account. So I will again invoke the LOV. So the company is 84. So we can see that system has automatically populated 84. The reason being, when we were creating the ledger, we had specified that this 84 value is going to be the balancing value. So we can see that since in the first line the company name was 84, that is why in the second line system has automatically populated the company as 84. Then let me select the department, so it's going to be no department. Account, so let me select some revenue account here, so I'll say IC revenue corporate. Then let me select the sub account, so the sub account will be Arizona 2102. Then the product was Sentinel Standard. And then let me select default employees, default future values in future 1 and future 2. I'll say okay, and then let me credit this by 2500. And now let me change the narration of these lines also. So I'll say manual GV in the GL training credit sales account. And then for the first line it will be debit receivables. So I'll say receivables, right? So we are going to now save this JV, a very simple JV. So before saving this JV, what we are going to do is let us see what happens if at all the debit and credit of the JV is not equaling to each other. Then the very basic or fundamental principle of accountancy is getting violated. So let me see how system stops me from doing this sort of a transaction. So I'll make the credit as 250, and then let me try to save this. So we can see that system is throwing us an error. This is actually a different error, not because of debit and credit not being equal. It is rather because we have entered some invalid value. So a comma is not allowed. So let me remove the comma from the credit, and let me remove the comma from the debit also. Let me try to save this. So we can see that the system is throwing us this warning. So if we are in the middle of entering a big JV, so we might have entered some 60-70 JV, and if we want to save the transaction after entering 50-60 JVs lines, 50-60 lines, which may not be the complete JV which we want to enter, then we can still override this warning being shown by the system, and we can save the JV, right? And now what we are going to do is, let me correct the JV. So I'll make the credit as 2500, and then let me try saving it. So now we can see that when the debit and credit was equal, system did not throw me any error. Okay, so the JV has been created, okay, for a value of 2500. Thank you.